In the heart of Africa, a man rose who would shape a nation with his name, his image, and his will. Mobutu Sese Seko. To some, a symbol of unity, to others, the embodiment of corruption. For over 3 decades, he ruled Zaire, not as a country, but as his kingdom. This is not just the story of a president, it is the story of a man who turned power into spectacles, loyalty into currency, and a nation's wealth into his own fortune. A ruler who built palaces while his people lived in poverty. A leader who survived coups, rebellions, and the Cold War, until his empire finally crumbled. Mobutu Sese Seko was a banga, a name as long as his reign. A man who ruled not as a country, but as an era. Born Joseph Adisa Mobutu in 1930 in what was then the Belgium Congo, Mobutu would rise from the colonial army clerk to become one of the Africa's most powerful and most controversial leaders. As a young man, Mobutu trained as a journalist before joining the force public, the colonial army. There, he learned discipline, strategy, and most importantly, how power worked. When Congo gained independence in 1960, chaos followed. The nation was fragile. In 1965, with the backing of the army and the quiet support of Western powers, Mobutu seized power in a military coup. He would rule for 32 years.
Moi, Mobutu Sese Seko Kukumbendu Wazabanga, je jure d'observer la Constitution et les lois du Zaïre.
He renamed the country Zaire. He renamed cities. He renamed himself. Joseph Adisa Mobutu became Mobutu Sese Seko, the all-powerful warrior who goes from the conquest to conquest, leaving fire in his wake. Mobutu promoted authenticity, a campaign to reject colonial culture. Western names were banned. Suits were replaced with the abacus. Africans were told to reclaim their identity. But while the nation was urged to embrace simplicity, Mobutu lived in excess. He built palaces. He flew the Concorde. He stored billions in foreign banks. Under his rule, corruption became policy. The state treasury became personal property. Zaire was rich in minerals, but its people grew poorer. This system came to be known as kleptocracy, the government by theft. Mobutu did not govern through institutions. He ruled through himself. The state was Mobutu. Mobutu was the state. He dismantles bureaucracies, fearing they might grow independent. Instead, he built a system of personal rule where power flowed directly from him. Ministers, generals, and businessmen owed their position not to law but to loyalty. He created one-party state, the popular movement of the revolution. Elections were theater, staged to show unity, but always ending with Mobutu as the sole victor. The secure obedience, Mobutu cultivated a cult of personality. His image was everywhere, on presenting himself as the father of the nation, the savior of independence, and the embodiment of the authenticity. But behind the spectacles lay representation. Opponents were silenced through exile, imprisonment, or death. Fear was the glue of regime. Mobutu also meddled beyond Zaire's border. He funded rebels, he influenced neighbors, and positioned himself as a regional kingmaker. He mastered the art of divide and rule. rule and reshuffling ministers constantly, so no one grew too powerful. Loyalty was rewarded with wealth, disobedience was punished with ruin. Yet, his rule was not only about brutality, it was about survival. For over 3 decades, Mobutu balanced Cold War politics, playing the West against the Soviet bloc. To Washington and Paris, he was a bulwark against communism. To Zaire's people, he was a ruler who mistook power for ownership. But by the 1990s, the Cold War ended, Western support faded, Zaire collapsed under debt. In 1997, after years of illness and mounting pressure, Mobutu was overthrown by Laurent Desire Kabila. He fled into exile. Months later, he died in Morocco. Far from the country, he ruled for more than 3 decades. Mobutu Sese Seko left behind a nation deeply scared, institutions weakened, economy shattered, and legacy still deeper